Hello, receiving teachers and students and class. Please sit down. I was just looking at this rubber band that I was stretching. The balloon that I was stretching. Anyway, let's get back to our homework. Can you remember your homework question? What is our homework question? All right, if you forgot, our homework question is, why is spring used? Why is a spring used and not a rubber band in a spring balance that you looked at? So let's have some answers for our homework question. Let's see. If a student, you may tell your teacher the answers. Minol? Thank you, Minol. Pass the mic to Minol. Mic.
Because it is a rubber band and it cannot measure a heavy weight.
What was the last part of the sentence? Cannot measure heavy weight. It is a rubber band and cannot measure a heavy weight. Any other reasons? Melisha?
Because the rubber band can break easily and the spring cannot break easily.
All right, these are the two answers that our friends gave, which they have looked at the question. There are two reasons why spring is used in a spring balance. The first one is a spring can stretch evenly. For a rubber band, we cannot really tell whether a spring stretches evenly. But a spring can stretch evenly. And second reason is when a weight is taken off, when the force is removed from the spring, it goes back to its original length. So these are the two reasons. Anyway, today we will look at also spring. So which brings us to the topic, how much force? Right, in the beginning I was stretching this piece of rubber in the beginning of the lesson. So this piece of rubber from an old balloon can stretch, but how much force am I applying on it? Do you know how much force am I applying on this rubber band? Minol? Nope. Good. So firstly, we need to look at the instrument that we are going to use, and which is in our last lesson, we looked at a spring balance, which can also be used to measure force. So let's have its group leaders to come up to the front to get yourself a spring balance. One from each group. Come. Right, there are two types that I'm giving out, like the one that we looked at, two types, the tubular and the rectangular. So there are groups who did not get the rectangular one. You may come up and get the tubular rectangle. Thank you. All right. Your activity is a very simple activity. Receiving students, you are going to look at this instrument. But in this instrument, you will look at the scales that are written and try to identify the unit that is used to measure force. So there are 3 questions which you will need to copy down quickly. So here is the first question. All right, there are your first 2 questions. I'll give you 2 minutes, 1 minute a question. Still a PowerPoint. Still a PowerPoint. Stand by me explaining, Pastor. Not the activity, but still a PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay, by me explaining this level. So you see now. Okay, this level. All right. 2 minutes is up. Before you begin the two questions, those who have the tubular spring balance, receiving students, on this tubular spring balance there are two different scales. So you will be looking at the one in front for those who are using this tubular. So firstly, let's just have a look at the one in front. There are two types of units that are used. So you will look at the front, the first unit, which is labeled G. I hope you know what G is. Good, very good, grams. So let's have a look at that, and you look at the scales on the tubular. For those who have the rectangular one, you have only one type of unit that is used, so you can use that. But your question is between the scale of 0 and 100. How many scale divisions? Anyone know what the scale division is on the tubular, on the spring balance? Do you all know that? Okay, good. Receiving students, your teacher may show you if you are not sure. Okay, you may have a look. Receiving students, if you do not have a spring balance, you can look at a portion of picture of a spring balance between 0 and 100. You can answer the question, and you can answer this one. Answer two questions. Have 5 minutes. I'll give you about, not 5 minutes, 3 minutes. Yes. Answer. You're trying to say the answer. Okay, you'll give the answer later. Answer the question first. In your books. Answer the questions in your books. Look at this scale first, because the question is 100 to 0 to 100. So look at the question. Just write the answers. One second. It's asking for what is the value of each of these scales. From 0 to 100, the value of one scale is about something. It's part of your mathematical calculation. 0 to 1,000 or 100? 100. And don't forget to put your question mark. Question mark. It's a question, not a sentence. Any questions? No question. Finish. There are 4 scale divisions. Okay, what is the value? Okay, show me the scale divisions. How many? 4. So what is the value of one of each scale? Okay, good. One group has completed the 2 questions. Very good. You have one more question left. What's this? Value of each scale. You sure? All right, you ready for the third question? Here is your third question. That is your third question. Third question, I'll give you 2 minutes. You may discuss with your friend. Be careful that this question is asking about force. Let me see. What is the unit? The value, the third question. Third question. You have less than a minute left for the third question. All right. Looks like you have answered all 3 questions. Let's go back to our first question. Our first 2 questions. What is the scale division between 0 and 100? So there are all right, let's have the answers for the first one. We'll have on air, the first one. What is Sorry, how many scale divisions between 0 and 100, students? How many scale divisions between 0 and 100? Looking at the scale that you are looking at. So the spring balance you are using?
There are 4 scale divisions between 0 and 100.
Okay, very good. And what is the value of each scale division? Madhu?
20, 40, 60, and 80.
Okay, he counted them, 20, 40, 60, and 80. Very good. So what is 1? One scale division, what is the value of just 1? Just 1, Vanessa. Very good. Thank you, Vanessa. Just 1. There are 4 scale divisions. So if you look closely, 1 scale division is equals to 20. The 5th one is the 100. So you count 20 each scale divisions. That will give you up to 100. Let's have a look at the tubular one. The tubular. Those who did the tubular. Can someone give us that answer? Those who did this. How many scale divisions did you find on the tubular? And what is the value of each scale division?
There are 9 scale divisions between 0 and 100 in a tubular spring pump.
And can you tell us what the value of each of the scale division is?
10 grams.
Okay, 10 grams, because the unit there is 10 grams. Okay, there are 9 scale divisions on the tubular spring balance, and each scale division is each scale division is 10. All right, our third question. Now, what is the unit that we... What is the unit that we are using? Weight is measured in grams. What about force? We have, okay, Samantha?
Newton.
Newton. Any other answers? Thank you. Samantha? Fred?
Weight.
Weight? Thank you, Fred, for that answer. Elizabeth?
Grams.
Grams. Any other answers? Last one. Moro?
Kilogram. Kilogram.
Kilograms. Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, Melissa, the last one.
Spring balance.
Spring balance. All right, have a look at your spring balance. This is the spring balance. So is this our unit? Our third question is, what is the unit used when we measure force? So is spring balance our unit? Okay, that means this is not our answer. We have three. Which of the two do we measure weight? Grams and kilograms. Force is measured in newtons. So our answer is newtons. But on the spring balance, you will see that it is labeled grams. But because we use this to measure force, it can be called a force meter. It can be called a force meter. So we change the units from grams to, when measuring force, we change the unit from grams to newton. So if we are measuring force, we change grams to newtons. Well, that we will have to look at in our coming lessons. So if you have some books about newtons and measuring force, you can read that, and that will help you in our next lesson. So that brings us to the end of our lesson. Our summary, just one summary. And our key phrase for today, class, can you read the key phrase? Again? Thank you, receiving teachers and students. Our next lesson will be on who discovered force. And there won't be any materials in the lesson used for that lesson. So with that, thank you, class. Thank you, receiving teachers and students, for your participation.